Well, hello, accounting students. My name is Chris Gibbons. I'm going to be your instructor for our Principles of Healthcare Accounting HCA 330 for the next 7 weeks. I'm sure you're all very excited about an accounting class. You've been waiting for it all these months, and you're finally here in the accounting course. And it just seems like it's been a wait forever. With all joking aside, though, I know that sometimes accounting is the one course students may not be looking the most forward to. That could be for a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's math phobia. Sometimes it's the perception that it's dry and meaningless information. But hopefully, by the end of 7 weeks, it still may be kind of dry, but hopefully you realize that information within accounting is absolutely essential for your career as a healthcare administrator, a healthcare manager, and a healthcare leader. And I'm going to get on my accounting soapbox here for a moment, but the language of finance is accounting. So what we have to do is establish that basic language. So once you have the language down, then we can do kind of the fun stuff, and that's the finance portion. Those are two separate classes here. So we have an accounting class and a finance class. Many of you go on to the finance class. It's kind of a 1-2 punch, if you will. Accounting first, finance second. But learning that language, and it's going to seem like a foreign language to many of you, but at the beginning. But once we get our grammar down, our syntax down, and learn a few basic words and terms, you're going to be absolutely fine, and you're going to be able to understand some of that financial information that you may be hearing in the workplace and have a greater depth of where that information came from. Now, don't worry if you have a little bit of math phobia. We will be playing with some numbers in the course. Now, I don't want you to think that, oh, I'm running for the hills, let me hit the drop button on this class. You can get an A in this course very easily and not have one correct answer in the course. Yes, that is true. Let me say that again. From a number perspective, you can have wrong numbers in the entire course and still easily get an A in the course. So hopefully that takes you off the ledge a little bit with any kind of financial math type stuff that we might be doing. And I do try to keep the mathy portion, if you will, or the accounting number portion light in the course. I really want you to get down the concepts. The other thing is to keep in mind is by the end of this course, the intent is not to make you an accountant. You're just going to have the basic understanding necessary to use the information produced by the accounting department. As a manager, as a leader, you're going to be making decisions for your organization, and you're going to be using information provided by some department, whether they call it accounting, finance, whatever. There's going to be information provided to you. You need to understand how that information was derived, and maybe the pitfalls of that information that might be presented to you, and the strengths of that information that might be presented to you. So that's what we're going to establish here, that language of accounting. And then if you decide to take the finance class in the second part, that's where you kind of do stuff with the information. You've already been given the information, now what do you do with it? So that's kind of the action step, if you will, from the accounting part. The accounting people would kill me for saying that, but the finance really puts the accounting into action in the real world. So, all right, so that's what we're going to be doing in this course. What I would like to do is a little bit of a syllabus walkthrough. So you'll notice on this page there's a PDF for the syllabus. If you haven't done so already, please pause this video and print out the syllabus, and we'll spend a few minutes kind of going through it and getting the flow of the course, and hopefully we can reduce any confusion as you go through the next 7 weeks. Hopefully not create more confusion. by just doing a quick syllabus walkthrough. So pause the video, print that syllabus out, and then come back. All right, I'm assuming you're back now. You got your syllabus in hand, stapled in the corner. It's always nice to have that physical syllabus. All right, let's minimize my picture here, and let's look at the syllabus. First thing is to look at the contact information. So many of you have had numerous classes here at Mercy College by the time you've taken this course. This course is usually not taken by individuals first entering the college. So again, I'm assuming many of you already had a course here, but maybe you haven't. But on the top of the syllabi, you'll notice contact information. The best way to get in contact with me, or the quickest way, perhaps the most efficient, is text message. I absolutely think that's, for me, it's worked really well over the years. I've probably given my phone number out to well over 1,000 students. And yeah, I've never had to block anybody yet. So I think it's worked out pretty well for the most part. And it's a great way for us to quickly connect. You know, if you got a question that you just got to, you know, a little quick clarification, that's what probably 90% of the stuff is a quick little clarification. You can shoot me a text, usually get an answer in a few minutes, unless I'm driving or sleeping or with the kids or whatnot. Usually get an answer pretty quickly, and we can move on with our lives, and you've got what you need and move on and, you know, tackle the course. So don't be bashful. If you want to text me, you absolutely can. Another way to get a hold of me, if you have a little bit longer form question, you know, versus 3 paragraphs in a text message, then that's when email would work. So my email address is listed there as well. Email is going to be a little bit slower response. You're probably looking at about 24 hours on that, and really depending on when you send the email. I mean, I guarantee if you send the email Saturday night, I'm probably not going to look at it. Usually Sundays, I'm pretty much off the grid. You know, if you send it Saturday night, I might not look at it. You know, probably Monday morning when you get your response. So it can be 24 hours usually, maybe a smidge longer depending on when you sent that email out. Another way that we can connect is we can always make an appointment to have maybe a Zoom meeting or just an old-fashioned phone call if there's something that we really need to be interactive on and to talk about with the course. So 3 ways to get a hold of me. You pick the one that works best for you, and then we'll be able to connect and get through this course together and get those learning objectives met. All right, well, let's take a look at the syllabi. COVID-19 information that we have in there. We've had that for quite a bit in our syllabi. I will say this before we go into kind of the real meat and potatoes of the course. Obviously, this is the era of the pandemic. We've been operating this way for nearly 2 years now. Well, actually 2 years and just a few weeks. Everybody's been impacted in all different ways. I mean, I know that with my family, we've had COVID within the family. We've had just other disruptions, the ripple effects of that from kids being at home, which is lovely. They're not going to school. All of these, you know, ripple effects that can happen or that have happened kind of in this COVID era. If anything should happen, and it may not even be COVID related. I mean, just even normally when we're running these courses, life happens to our students. It could be, you know, maybe a sick child or some family emergency or something that catches you off guard and that you couldn't really plan on, and that your academics had to take a back seat for a little while, maybe for 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever it might be. But that may delay what you were doing in the course. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. You know, if it's simply adjusting a due date because, you know, you're in the emergency department with you know, a sick child or, you know, some nature like that, you know, definitely just, you know, I'm more than willing to work with you. My approach to these courses is that we have learning objectives to meet. We've got assignments and stuff that we have to do. but we can have a little flexibility in getting to those things and getting them done. So I'm willing to, flex with you as long as you kind of keep in contact with me, and as long as we can kind of get everything done by the end of the 7 weeks, mission accomplished. So I'll just put that out there for you folks. I want you to be successful in this course, and sometimes that requires sometimes a little flexibility on how we get there. So I'm good with that. With that being said, it's not self-paced, and we got stuff we have to do eventually. So that's sometimes where flexibility can kind of bite you in the rear end, is if we get too far behind on stuff and then we run out of time, and then you're missing assignments, and that's quite honestly, that's how usually students lose letter grades, is by missing assignments. So we got to be, we have to kind of be careful here. But I think we got some nice wiggle room within the course to hopefully handle the normal, abnormal situations that might come up in the next couple of months as you're finishing this course. All right, let's get into the actual stuff here. Course objectives. You can read that, but again, we want to have financial accounting, managerial accounting basics. We want to have you understand what those are, specifically in relation to you being as a mid-level, entry-level manager and making financial decisions. So, but if you want, you can read all those fancy objectives that I wrote for the course way back when. But that's really the nutshell of what this thing is. Required text. Hopefully all of you have the textbook. You will notice that PDFs are provided within the first few modules of the textbook, or I'm sorry, of the course. PDFs of the textbook that are in the course if you don't have the textbook yet. There's usually 1 or 2 individuals that may not have the textbook. The PDFs are there. They're legible. They're not great, but they're legible, and they'll get you through until you get your own textbook in your hands. So, so those are there for you. I will say that this book is a little dense, a lot dense. It's a pretty heavy read, to be honest with you. Do the best you can with it. It is kind of considered the Bible, if you will, of healthcare finance and accounting. And we do use that same book. If you're like, geez, it's really expensive. Actually, we use that book for both courses. So we go through the first half in accounting and the second half in finance. So when you blend it all together, it's a heck of a deal. But no, it's still kind of pricey. But you will use that book for both courses. So if you're continuing on with finance in the second 7 weeks with me, don't sell that book. All right. So that's the healthcare finance, the Gopinski-Baker book. All right, and let's see here. Let's go on to the actual stuff. All right, so the actual stuff in this course. Pretty lean as far as we don't have a lot of little different assignments. I try to keep things down to central basics. Learning activities, that's really where we're reinforcing the readings and lectures for that week. Sometimes the learning activities will be short, like essays, like 2-page essays. Sometimes they will be more accounting type math stuff. So where you might be playing around with some numbers. Again, I'm not looking for correct answers. I'm looking for process. Did you follow the process that we outlined in either the lecture or in the textbook? And a good faith effort. Again, you can get, on an assignment, you could get 33 points out of 35, even if you have a completely wrong answer. So as long as I saw that the process was correct and you made a good faith effort at that. So learning activities, we have one just about every week. Module quizzes, we have those as well. We're not going to have them on the midterm or the final weeks, but you'll have those quizzes in there as well. Progress journals. That's an easy 100 points. You're just talking to me. You're just writing. You'll see it as we go through the course, but you're just kind of a little. I'll prompt you with some questions. you'll be able to kind of respond back. Excuse me. But it's a good way for us just to connect. And I often will, as I read these progress journals, if I see a theme or something going on in the course, we may make changes, and we often do changes on the fly with the course. So I do like the progress journals. So we got a couple of those in the course. We will have a couple of case studies. With the case studies, it's really just your best, again, looking for critical thinking. Are you kind of extracting some of the things out of those case studies that we've talked about? Are you using the accounting language correctly? You might throw some charts in there. You might have some tables in there. But again, I'm not going to be crushing you like on the math, like, oh my God, you missed it by $100. No, but I am looking for that kind of that critical analysis in these case studies. Some of these case studies can be used at the graduate level. So they throw a lot of information at you. I would never expect to be able to extract every little piece. So as you're reading a case study and you go, I don't know what to do with this. I've never heard about this particular thing. Don't worry about it. But there will be plenty of stuff in there that you have heard about that you should kind of know how it applies to the questions of the case study. So, so you're going to have some case studies in there, and we'll guide you through as we have those happen. You'll be guided through with some case study questions that you'll have to answer. And again, I already alluded to it, but we have a midterm and a final in the course. So everything is kind of broken up a little bit with point value. There's no, there's no like single crushing assignment. The final is pretty beefy at 150 points, but I will tell you this, I won't spill the beans yet, but most everybody gets 150 points, 140, 145. If you didn't pay attention at all on the course, yeah, that maybe you won't, but most people do. A vast majority, 95, 98% of the students will get, will ace the final, because there will be a lot of material that you've seen before, that you know the answer to, even if you got the answer wrong previously in a midterm or in a quiz. So we're kind of bringing all that back. So you kind of get a mulligan, a do-over in any of these questions that you've had throughout the semester, and that you can redeem yourself, if you will, but vast majority of students get 150, get the full points on that. So there's the breakdown of what we're doing. The other thing is the schedule. Those are really, I think, the two most important parts are the schedule and then the breakdown. And everything's pretty mechanical with this. You've got your learning activity, you have a quiz, learning activity, quiz, learning activity midterm, case study 1, case study 2. Try to keep things pretty balanced as we go all the way through that. Okay, let me just show you a couple more things before we jump off here. So I'll go ahead and get rid of the syllabus. Some of the modules, and let's pop into one of them. Let's see here, modules. So some of the modules will have multiple parts, and so don't let that throw you. They are going to be a little heavier, that particular module. So for example, Module 2 has a Part 1 and Part 2. Again, very doable, but just plan that those are going to feel a little bit more heavier on those weeks. I think we have a second one in here too. Oh, no, actually just that one. So there you go. So that's going to feel a little bit heavier on that particular module that you have a part in there. But I think those, excuse me, those two parts really work well together, and hopefully is not too overwhelming for you. All right, so there we go. That's pretty much it, guys. That kind of covers what we're going to be, kind of the roadmap for the course going forward as we go through spring 22. Can't believe that it's already here over the next 7 weeks. If you have any questions, again, we already talked about how to get a hold of me. But other than that, I hope everybody has a great and fantastic week. Thank you for being in this course, and I'm looking forward to the next 7 weeks and working through accounting with you. So everybody have a great week. Thanks.